live DIY here at Home Talk. My name is Julie and I'm a blogger over at Julie Measures. And today I'm going to show you how to do a floral monogram. I love monograms and flowers, so it was really exciting to put this craft together. And I'm here in North Texas working on this craft today. And as you're tuning in, I'd love to know where you're watching from and where you're crafting with me. So the main crafts, or the main supplies for our craft today is some cardboard. You'll need some scissors, cardboard and poster board. So if you've ever gone to the craft store, you've probably seen those cardboard craft letters. And that's kind of what we're going to make, but we're going to DIY our own. So you'll start by deciding what letter or shape you're doing. So you're just going to print whatever letter or shape. So you could do a monogram with your last name, your initial, you could do your first initial. I love the ampersand sign, so you could do one of those. Just print it as large as you can. This is just an 8.5 sheet of paper. Print your letter. I made it so that it just prints the outline to save some ink. So we're going to work on this G today. And I've got just a piece of cardboard. If you order things online, like I happen to do sometimes, you can use that. You just need a piece that's big enough for your letter. As we're getting started today, we're also going to do a giveaway. So let me know what kind of flowers you would use in your floral monogram to have a chance to win a tote from Home Talk. Okay, so you just trace around the letter or ampersand or whatever you're doing. So trace your letter just with a pen real quick. Okay, so there's a neater one I did. And then you just cut it out. So this is going to be like the back of this 3D letter that we're creating. That's kind of the basis for our monogram. So cut off, that had some extra, and then cut. I did the outside first, and you can use scissors for part of this. So like the outside of this G, I'm going to use scissors and just cut away the extra. And then once I get the outside cut, you can switch. Obviously you don't want to bend the cardboard. You want it to be sturdy. So to do this interior pieces, I would use the scissors where I can. Like right here I can make another cut, and I can make a cut here. But then this curvy part, like even to kind of cut across there, it starts getting more difficult with scissors. So you could use a craft knife or an X-Acto knife. And then I've got it over a cutting mat. And it is cardboard, so you have to go through it, you know, a few times to get that cut right. But you would just go through, and to me the curves are the hardest part. So I would spend some time working on that and getting that all cut out. And then I'll have my cardboard G, and it's all cut out and nice and even. Alright, so we're making this a floral monogram. And so what we need to do is take this G and make it kind of 3D. So we talked about like those craft letters at the store, and they're 3D. So we need to build out on our letter. So what I did is I measured my cardboard, and it's about 1.5 inches wide. And I wanted that same evenness as I build up the sides. So for the sides I'm using just a sheet of poster board. And this one's kind of beat up. It's been dragged around a lot. My cutting board has I'm losing my glue gun. Hold on a second. Has some measurements on it. So I can kind of line it up, you know, along the side. And then I could use a strip to measure. And I just want this to be about 1.5 inches. It doesn't have to be exact, but it would be nice if it was fairly even. I'm going to measure it on this side. And then I can take my craft knife or X-Acto knife and just cut along. And I just want a few strips so I can build out that 3D letter that we're going through, my 3D monogram. So if you're just tuning in, we are making a floral monogram, and we're starting by making our letter. And by doing it DIY, then you can have whatever letter, whatever shape you want. I think this would be really cute at a wedding if you did, like, you know, the initials of the bride and groom. So the first letter of your name, then like an ampersand, and then the first letter of the other person's name. Just could be really cute. Or just on your, you know, decor on your wall, on your shelf at home. So lots of fun reasons to do it. As we go along, I've got some different ideas for different flowers to fill it with. So don't forget to let me know what kind of flower you're going to put in your monogram for the giveaway today. And let me know where you're watching from. I don't know if I mentioned it. I'm in North Texas watching today. Or not watching, crafting today. And I'm hoping that it's not going to storm here today. There's a chance. Some bad weather, so. Okay, so we cut out our letter out of the cardboard. And then we cut some strips of poster board. And we'll kind of trim these down. And I've got a few shorter pieces from another one I made. And then I've got my hot glue gun. And we're going to glue around, put the poster board around the cardboard. And one of the reasons I went with the poster board for this part is because it's much more flexible than the cardboard. So I will glue, and I did the exterior first. So I'm going to use hot glue. You could probably use whatever strong glue you want. So I'm going to put this on this and not burn myself. That's the goal, right? When we play with hot glue, is we do not want to burn ourselves. As I'm trying to think about the glue. Okay. So you're going to glue it, and I would put the glue all the way around. I'm just going to kind of tack it down real quick though. So you would glue it all the way around. And then when I get to a spot like the edge here, instead of folding it, I didn't think it made a real crisp corner when you folded it. So I cut that off. I used that as an end point and just snipped that right there. So this is glued all the way around here, like that. And then at the corner, I glue it like that. Because I just thought that that gave a much more defined corner than when you folded it. And depending on the letter or the shape that you make, obviously is going to determine how many corners, how many things. Now if you're doing a letter, or if you're doing something like this ampersand, on this I just cut a piece that was big enough to fit inside, and then it had one join right here, and it just bent around there. On this piece I did a straight, one piece here, and then another piece here. So because that's where the edge was, I cut, but if it's a curve, then I just would bend it around. So that's kind of tacked down, and then there's that curve right there. And then I'll show you, when it's a join like that, I also glued up along the join itself. So I glued it to the cardboard, and then where it's joined, I also glued on the inside, so you can't see it. I also glued along that join, and it's going to get covered up, so if it's kind of thick and messy, that's okay. But then, just to strengthen that join, you could also, for some of them, where I'm trying to hold this straight piece and a curved piece, tape really helped too, to help kind of hold it when I didn't have enough hands to hold all those different pieces. So then we've got another spot right here where I would cut. And you would just kind of continue that. So that would be a piece there, then you could curve there, then that would be a piece, and that would be a piece. So, lots of gluing. So just cut out several strips of poster board and trim them to make them fit as needed. And then we've got our three-dimensional monogram. So, if we've been tracking the progress of our monogram, we started with our cardboard that we cut out. Well, we started with our printer paper that we cut out. And we traced that, and we cut it out, and then we added our edging. Now, once you're ready to fill your monogram flower, you can do this a bunch of different ways. You could do some felt flowers. I made these a few weeks ago. You just cut out the different shapes of the leaves. I did 3 different sizes of leaves, smallest to biggest, and you could put those, these are kind of too big because they were for a different project, but you could do felt flowers. You could do paper flowers, which would be made the same method as the felt flowers. I've been playing with some crepe paper flowers, so that's a fun way to do it. But today I'm going to use some silk flowers, and we're going to do a few different things with these. So I'm doing kind of this blushy pink theme, and I've got like a few different shapes because I think that's going to give it some textural interest. Now, this flower, you might notice, is a little bit big to go into our monogram. That's okay, because I'm not going to use the whole flower. I am going to use the petals. And I'm going to do that by disassembling the flower. And I actually do this a lot to my silk flowers. If they're slightly the wrong shape, I might take a thing off and go, okay, it's smaller now, that works. But I got these at the dollar store, and silk flowers can be expensive. So when I found these at the dollar store, I just grabbed a whole bunch. So I am just disassembling that flower, and I'm not going to use any of these pieces. I might use the leaves, so I'll hold on to those. Let's get these felt flowers. I'm not using those out of the way. And then I'm going to cut up these so that I can turn them into petals. Now, of course, you could go and buy just petals on their own. But since I had these, I said I got them for a great deal at the dollar store, I'm just going to take a minute and cut petals up. But I said, I've also got some other sized flowers too, because I think the combination of the different flowers and petals. Okay, so we said that flower would be too big, but I can fold these, and I'm going to use just a drop of glue as I go so that they'll kind of stay where I want them to go. And I might, you know, put several together and glue, and the glue is just to kind of get them to sort of stay. So let's do another bunch of 3, and then maybe one more bunch of 3. I've got 3 different kinds of flowers here. I've got these giant ones that I'm just going to use the petals for, and then I've got some smaller ones where I'll be able to use the flower in its entirety. So I'm not sure what kind of flowers these would be in real life, in nature, and not the silk variety that I'm using. But let me know what kind of flowers you think you'd use. Would you use real flowers? Would you use silk flowers? Are you going to make paper flowers? Okay, so for this one again, the entire piece might be too big. But this one I can trim each little group of flowers and use those. So this flower is kind of the same color as those petals, but it gives me a slightly different texture. And these are just wire cutters I'm using to disassemble my silk flower. You could also put in some green floral foam in the bottom of this if you wanted to. I'm just going to kind of shove these in here. So that's getting some, and this has got a real kind of wedding white thing to it. Alright, now let's come over here and add in this kind of blush pink. And that might even be too many, even that little group. So I'm going to cut these even smaller. Ooh. That's another way too. This one just popped off. So I can tuck these blooms in. And see, that one I might glue. So I love using floral or silk flowers because I love having real flowers in my house. But I also love when I create things like this that I want for a display, that they'll last, you know, longer than a few days. But you could definitely use some of the green, you know, the floral foam. You could do some succulents in here. That would be really pretty. Some live succulents. And let me know, do you like monograms better, or do you like, is anyone else crazy for ampersands? I love ampersands. I think they're so fun. I really don't even know why. I just really like them. I always have. Whenever we see something that's an ampersand, if I'm at the store with my sisters, they're like, oh look, it's Julie. Yes, I need all of the ampersands. Okay, so there's a few ways to kind of combine that. So we had those petals, and the petals are kind of a fun way to do the edging, to cover up, you know, that cardboard, because you kind of want enough flowers so that it hides some of it. Now, I used a white cardboard for this. You could certainly, see, this time I'm going to fold it even more and just add that petal in there. If you wanted to go with like a theme, so maybe you wanted to do like the succulents. So maybe you use a green cardboard or a green poster board instead of the white. And that can be, you know, part of the design, is having that color add in to what you're making. I'm using these white and kind of pinky flowers, so I think the white cardboard is perfect for what I'm doing. But there are lots of options. The actual cardboard back doesn't matter because you can't see that. You could also, once your cardboard, you know, letter is cut out and you've made it 3D, you could spray paint it if you wanted to add a color that way. So I'm just folding in and adding more petals. And I'm kind of just folding these a bunch of different ways because I think it's adding some different texture. And I am starting to glue more as I layer this up. So I do love this kind of blushy white feel that it has going. And I want a little flower right there in on the side. Now some of the flower that I cut up is smaller, so I can kind of fold that up as well. Now I've got, as you saw, I've got like 3 different flowers that are going into this. You certainly don't have to have that many. I'm going to pull out, okay, so we talked about I love ampersands. So here's an ampersand that I did, and it's the same, those same giant, these giant white flowers. Let me get one that's not connected. It's this same flower, which I don't know what the name of it is, but it's pretty. But I got it in this pink. And for this one, I used the leaves and stuck that in there too, because I thought it gave it a real tropical feel, real beachy. So we've got one that's kind of tropic, and then we've got one that's more I don't know, it still looks a little beachy, seashell, blushing bride, all those words, all those descriptive things that make it look pretty. And I think I've got, yeah, a few more blooms to add in here. So you can add in, I said, you know, the leaves on that one, you've got lots of different options for adding in colors and textures. And you could DIY these flowers too if you wanted to make some paper flowers, crepe paper flowers. Lots of different things. So make sure you let me know what kind of flowers you're going to put in your monogram for the Home Talk giveaway. And if you missed any of the beginning, we'll recap real fast again. So we printed out a letter. You could also do a symbol. I am a fan of the ampersand. And then we traced it on some cardboard. Then we used poster board to make it 3D. And now we're adding in flowers. And that's really, I think, where the personality of the piece gets to come through. You know, this real bright, vibrant one versus this much more muted, calm one that we've got going on now. In my head, I kept thinking about it like for a wedding, so that you would have, or just for a home or whatever, so you would have like initial number 1 and then initial number 2. My husband and I both have names that start with the letter J, so we could have J and J. G is our last name, so, you know, all sorts of different ways to do it. I'm really excited about putting this on my mantle. I did, actually, then I got finished with it, and I kept thinking how cute it would look with ribbon attached to the back and hanging up, and that you could even use it as a wreath for your front door, especially if you're using like the silk flowers. You might, you know, not want it to get real wet because it is cardboard, but that could be a really fun wreath for your door for spring or for summer or whatever season it is now. Is it summer yet? I don't know. It's been like 90 degrees here and it feels warm and we're all wearing t-shirts and tank tops and sandals, so. But I have to remind myself that that's not, I live where it's warm. So it's not summer for everybody yet. I think I saw a picture on Facebook the other day where my cousin lives and it was snowing. And I thought, I do not understand snow in May because that's not my reality. So we've got, you see, especially these big ones are doing a fun job of covering up the side there. And these petals. And I love that even these, I'm trying to decide where I want to stick this. This bunch of flowers, that even each individual flower is giving me some different colors. And if you wanted to, you could stick in some leaves. I think that looks pretty right there. So we'll add in some leaves. And I said, I got these, all of my flowers at a dollar store that's near my house. Because silk flowers can be kind of pricey sometimes, but so look for them maybe in places that you haven't thought of before. And I'm going to poke this with not my hand because I want it to go down in there further. We're trying not to get burned by the hot glue gun. I did that already when I made the other one. I think I yelled out and my teenager looked at me and I said, it's okay, I'm just burning myself. Okay, so those are filling in really nicely. And ideally, these should stand up. That one I kind of put a lot in the bottom. But yeah, so they stand up. So they'll be really cute on a mantle, wherever you want it. I mentioned they could be really fun as a wreath. And just fill it in until you're happy. There's not obviously a right or wrong way to do that. You can just keep adding things as long as you have more to add. I didn't add very many of these, did I? So I might add in a few more.
They've announced a winner.
Our winner!
Monica Pitchler.
Congratulations! Those Home Talk gift tote bags are super cute. I had the last winner send me a picture of her. She was so excited. Okay, I'm adding one more flower right there. And we're going to call that good. So there's our Floral Monogram. I don't know if an ampersand counts as a monogram, but I really like ampersand. So, shows you that you can do whatever shape or letter you want. Add in your flowers, and you've got a great decor piece for your house for this spring, and it adds in a pop of color to your decor. So thanks so much for hanging out and crafting with me today. Make sure that you like Home Talk and subscribe. You can catch the next live DIY here at Home Talk at 5 Eastern. And head over to Julie Measures and give me a like. And you'll see lots of more projects like this, and you can ask me any questions you had about this project. Happy crafting, and I'll be back here to make more fun stuff with you again soon. Bye, guys.